I'm Ruth Nelson, founder of BYOP on the Go, and your host tonight. My co-host is former BYOP player Jayden Hisel, who will talk with one of the most successful BYOP certified instructors, learn the story behind how he heard of BYOP and why it was crucial for him to have a program in Edmond, Oklahoma. We'll also learn about his day job and how his passion has driven him to his weekend work with kids. So let's go to our featured guest. Welcome, Randy Decker, to BYOP on the Go.
Hi, everybody.
All right, so before we start, we're going to give just a little video that highlights some of your journey. So here we go. So we have some pictures of you and your program in Edmond, Oklahoma, and utilizing soft light. And probably one of the most important thing is for people to recognize that who you are and what you're doing and why in the world would you ever get engaged in BYOP, because it's such a different age group for most people. And we'll talk a little bit about getting certified, and that you're the only program that's certified in the state of Oklahoma. So with that, we will jump right over. And Jayden, if you're ready, let's begin with your questions.
All righty. My first question is, Randy, would you mind sharing a little background on how you've been so successful and got to where you are today?
All right. So my background, I grew up here close to Edmond. I live in Edmond now, but grew up in Del City. Went to school, became a teacher and an assistant principal and a principal. And then the last 18 years, I moved over to central office for Edmond Public Schools, and I am an associate superintendent of human resources. And so I get to be around kids, not as much as I was when I was a principal, but Edmond has been a great place for me to be for the last 30 years. And it was really part of Edmond that got me started in learning and working volleyball. One thing that people don't know about me, unless I coached you, and then you know, is that I was the littlest kid in school growing up. So when I went to college, I was about 5'3" and 102 pounds, and I grew 11 inches in college. So when I went to college, I grew 11 inches. And that's when somebody said, you really need to think about playing volleyball. Started doing that, loved it, and picked it up, began to play beach volleyball, started teaching, and became, as a fifth grade teacher at one of our elementary schools, I also was hired to be the head coach at Edmond Memorial, and absolutely love that. So Edmond Memorial is a perennial top 5, top 10 program. At that time, they had not been to the state tournament in a little while. We got back to the state tournament, and then my career ended quickly because I became an assistant principal in the district, and they don't let you. You can't be a coach and an assistant principal. So that's what led me kind of to the club side, and that's where 6 other friends of mine and I started Oklahoma Peak Performance Volleyball, and their focus was on the older age groups, and I said I really wanted to focus on young kids. And so at that time, it was 12 and unders. There weren't 11 and unders in the state anywhere. There weren't 10 and unders like there are now. And so at 12 and under, I began to coach them. I coached it for about 6 years. I coached a few other age groups, and then started a boys program for Peak, because I had a son. My 2 daughters were playing and wanted my son to play. He wanted to play, so we started a program there with Oklahoma Peak. And then the last few years, I have focused back on the 11s, but it was back in 2018 when I met Ruth. So that's a long answer to a question. And we can talk more about how Ruth and I met, and if you want, but hopefully that answers that one. Is that good?
Yep, that was
okay, Jayden, he answered 2 of your questions.
I know.
Very good. What was the second one?
Okay.
It was, what do you do on the weekends? Like, what's your weekend job?
Yeah, it's the club. Certainly in the evenings, I work the club and do a lot of that. But I love my job for Edmond Schools, and then after that, get rid of the tie and the suit and jump in the gym and work with kids. So.
Wow. Okay, Jayden.
Alrighty. So my next one is, when and why would you say you were interested in becoming a BYOP certified instructor?
So it was back around 2018, and because I was an elementary teacher, that's the age group that I enjoy working with. Being an elementary principal, there was nothing better than walking into a kindergarten classroom, sitting around with a book, and having a bunch of kindergartners come around you and read to kids. So kids has been a part of my life for many, many, many years. But I wanted to, with Peak, we were working with young age groups. I have done all of the camps. We have a couple of different types of camps with Peak, and I do all of them and have for about 18 years. And I enjoyed that, but I kept watching other sports and seeing that, a lot of people are getting kids involved earlier. I'd love to do that. I began to look around and go, how can I get kids involved younger, just in enjoying the sport, not competitively, but enjoying it. So it was something I was looking for. And one day I was on the art of coaching volleyball, and I saw BYOP and Ruth. And so I thought, you know what, just contact her. And so I contacted her. And then she said, well, we don't just accept anybody. And I said, oh, okay. So what do I have to do? And she said, well, you need to fill out all this, and then we'll talk to you. And so anyway, I'm guessing she liked my resume, because she called back, and we've started a 5-year friendship of talking late at night about how to reach kids. And so really it was me wanting to find a way to bring volleyball to kids at a younger age. And Ruth already there was no need to reinvent the wheel. Ruth had a great program that I really was drawn to immediately, and that's kind of how it started.
And Jayden, she was one of the first groups in my BYOP program.
Oh, very nice. So you got a great foundation from the beginning.
And actually, she was with my first group in 2011 at the AVCA convention that demonstrated. There were 6 of them. There was she and Kayla and 4 cheerleaders. And those 4 cheerleaders, they thought they were just coming out for one session, and the mom thought that they were going to get to sit in the stands and do, texting and all that. And they realized they were committing for the whole year. Okay, Jayden, that was good.
So could you please tell us some stories about the 20-hour certification course and what you enjoyed most?
Well, first of all, when I went down, I did not know what to expect, but I have always one of my mottos, and I heard when I was a young teacher, is teachers are the first learners. And so I'm a teacher at heart. And so when I got down there, I really jumped into the course. One is I enjoyed the people that I got to know who were doing the same thing I was. But really, listening to Ruth and her excitement about what she was doing and what we were trying to learn to do is what drew me to that. But it is, I am constantly trying to find new ways for kids to learn skills and drills. And so here we were in a program that had already thought through a lot of these things. And so it was so supportive of individuals. You did not have to create a lot of things. A lot of that was created for you. And by the way, the drills, the cues, all those things worked. And so that's of the 20 hours, it went so quickly because when you're having fun, time's going to fly. And it did for me. I think it did for the others that were in our program there. And so I came away just thinking about all the ways that I could do this and bring this to Edmond, and was very, very excited when I got done. So it was a great start to what's been a 5-year journey so far.
So what did you remember about the players that were there that you got to work with and their families?
Well, I love watching the interaction between the parents and the kids. And the kids, they knew exactly what they were doing. When you spoke certain cues, they knew exactly what they were supposed to do. What I really enjoyed about it is watching kids teach parents, and I still get a kick out of that today. And one of the classes I just finished, I got some great pics of some of our little 5 and 6 year olds, and I mean they were working on serving with mom and dad, and had a great time with that. But the kids there, one, they were all great little athletes, but they had a lot of energy. Everything they did, and the interaction with the parents. And I think what I enjoyed the most was sitting down with parents and the kids. I don't know what day it was, but it's probably day 2, and just listening to what the parents got out of it. Because in this day and age, when it's easy for parents to be so busy, unfortunately, with trying to put food on the table and go about life and make a great living for kids, for parents to take time out to be with their children and see children really appreciate that. There's just not much better than that. So I really appreciated listening to these parents, and you could see that the kids had a lot of respect for their parents. So
All right. So, and that's important these days.
uh, that, no question. But I would say, in all of my years of BYOP, sometimes you'd see some parents come in and they were maybe a little too competitive, but you would watch them through learning on jump ropes and all these other things that we were doing. You would really see that relationship develop. And one of the things I've enjoyed is that many times moms are there, but dads, many times those dads are coming from a job as well, and they are so glad to get in the gym, and they will not miss. They are some of my most faithful parents who do BYOP.
All right. All right, Jayden.
So when you began your first group of families back in 2018, what do you remember about the 8-week program?
I lived by the book. The book was my Bible, and I'm a rule follower, and so I was making sure I would look at my notes the night before and go, okay, what am I doing? How am I doing it? And even though I've been a teacher for years and I can teach on a lot of topics, I love the specificity of BYOP, and the how everything is there for a purpose. And so I wanted to make sure I was doing it not just the way Ruth would like, but just with fidelity of making sure I had a great experience for kids. And so, but yeah, I lived by that book, and I still refer to it a bunch, just to make sure that I'm consistent from year to year with kids. So
Yeah, play days and skills contests and bring a friend night.
yeah, there have been some years where I've had everybody bring a friend. Sometimes not, but that has always been fun. The skills, the last one we did, the kids just really enjoyed it. That was our last week, and they had a great time at it. So yeah, all the different things. And listen, there's just nothing like being with 5 to 10 year olds. They are a hoot. And I have one that this is her fourth, I think it's fourth or fifth time with me. So she started when she was 4.
Oh.
And she has continued to come back every year. And I can't wait for her to get old enough to try out for my team. But she is going to be, I think, a very, very good little player. And she is maybe my best cartwheeler ever. That kid can cartwheel. So, but yeah, so I've had a number of them return. This last class, I had 2 or 3 returning players. And so it's fun to watch them come back again. And then that's where it gets a little bit more challenging in trying to adapt, with some newer kids versus those who know the cues and know some of the other things. So it's constantly changing. The classes aren't always the same.
So, but it's also fun to utilize those returning families as examples.
Well, yeah. And actually this time I actually had I've used mentors before, but this time in talking to Ruth, I had a young lady that had been one of my BYOP kids. And so she was looking for community service hours. And so she actually joined me, and she just ate it up, loved passing on to the kids several years younger than her, just what she had learned. And because she did BYOP in either class 1 or 2 for me, and just did a great little job. So it was
Wow.
fun to watch her enjoy giving back.
So Jayden did coaching for me this summer too, and mentoring. And since she's a prodigy of BYOP, did you recognize some of the things he was saying about his player really enjoying giving back? What's the hardest thing for you, Jayden, when you have to do some training with the kids this summer that were young?
The hardest thing? Oh, not to laugh. You would get so mad at me for laughing because I would have to turn my head so fast so the little kid couldn't see me laughing, because then they would think that they could keep doing what they were doing. Yeah, that was my struggle for sure.
How about keeping them structured so they would improve?
Or that, yeah, trying to keep them stop goofing off and stuff and acting silly, or when they would get a little bit of an attitude late into the lesson and stuff, I'd be like, oh, yikes.
That's what I like about BYOP is that it moves fairly quickly in an hour. And if you know the developmental stages of kids, then you realize you got to keep changing things up. If you're ever in a kindergarten or first grade class, you cannot do something for 30 minutes. So you have to change it up.
You had a chance to use puffers, Randy?
I have not, but that is on my list. You and I keep talking about it, and I keep forgetting to order them. So no, I haven't, but that will be in my next class, and I think I'm going to try to get another class going in October.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Jayden, real briefly, talk to him a little bit about puffers that you've seen with kids.
Well, I kind of started with puffers. Not like started when I was younger, but I noticed that it would change. You can feel like your hand contact was serving and hitting. You can tell like if the puffer spins one way or if it flattens out, you know that you hit it sideways or on the side, or if it back spins, you know, you hit underneath it. So it's just a lot easier to tell with a small squishy ball rather than a hard ball how you're.
So do you think it's just for little kids or kids your age?
Oh no, kids my age. Yeah, because I started using the puffer at my age. That's what I was saying. Like I didn't start using it when I was little.
Yeah.
I didn't start using it until you found out about it, which is like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Oh no, 2018. You're just behind a couple years.
Oh, sorry.
You forgot. That's okay. All right. This one's going to be a good question, Jayden, for him.
Alrighty. So would you mind telling us why your club continues supporting your BYOP program?
Well, they see the results. Matter of fact, they helped send me down when we were starting in 2018. I presented it to our board members, and I'm a board member as well. And that I have a passion for this age group, and I really think there's a lot that we can do there. And all of us on the board, we have our strengths and areas that we excel in. And not everybody can work with little kids, or let me say this: not everybody wants to work with little kids. They probably could, but they may not want to. And so when I presented this to the board, they actually supported me in going down, helped me get down there and take care of that. And they've seen the result over the last three years. Anywhere from 5 to 6 players that are on my team and teams a little bit older than me started through BYOP, and so they get a great foundation, and so it's been the club has seen the benefit of it, and I think it's also where we are just continuing to want to expand. And as we do that, for me, that's going younger and continue to work with right now we work with kids 7 to 12-year-olds in a lot of our camps, and we use what I've really liked is that we use a lot of these terminologies and the cues with our coaches. And so when I'm saying quarter turn, kids in our camps know it, kids on other teams know it, so they have picked up on some of those cues because our kids know it, and so sometimes they're teaching even our coaches a little bit.
Wow. So really learning keywords helps you from having to stop all the time and talk, because the kids don't want to listen to you talk anyhow.
Right. Well, and the other thing I would say is I've developed, you're right, the kids don't want to listen to you anyway. I just caught that, Ruth. Sorry about that. But the other thing that I've done is kind of develop some lists of skills that we want kids to learn. For instance, at a certain age, one skill maybe, it might be one that you teach kids, but don't really expect them to learn at 9 years old. But by 11 years old, that needs to be an expected skill.
Yeah.
It can be extended for somebody that's 9, and it's one that would be expected by the time they got to 11s. You would want them to know that. So we've worked on that, and and trying to establish that consistency. And so the cues help with that as well. So
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Someone asked me, I have 6 6-year-olds in my program I started on Monday. And somebody said, well, are we going to do setting? I said, no, we're going to do set and catch. And they go, well, why do you do that? Because you can't hold the ball in the game. And I said, because it teaches them good hand position. So when they do get stronger at 9 or 10, maybe, they can set properly instead of you having to have bad habits to be able to teach them at that time.
Yeah.
All right, Jayden, now the big one.
So I know that you've used bot and soft fly, oversized and regular sized balls. How would you say that these two volleyballs have benefited in the teaching and training process of ages 10 and under?
Our kids love it. We've got 2 carts. I bought, well, I always go above and beyond in a lot of things. And so Ruth, I think I bought 15 or 20 balls. And so for the program, because I don't ever want to have to shag balls. I'm probably a little lazy that way. So we've got 2 carts of both the oversized and the regular ball. And you will find kids just absolutely love it, especially at the young age. It takes away the fear of it hurting their arms. And I found, listen, I've used them now for 5 years, and not one of them has gone flat, which absolutely shocks me.
Right.
They are still in use, and so the kids really enjoy them. I think it's a great first. Matter of fact, when we do camps with the club, we'll divide a lot of the kids by age, and so the 6 and 7-year-olds all have those 2 carts there, and the coaches will pull those out whenever the 6 and 7-year-olds come to them, so that they can work off of those balls. And then then the regular volley lights, the light balls for a little bit older age group. But the kids really enjoy them, and parents appreciate them as well.
So do you find very many of your kids, the parents actually purchase them and they practice at home?
They do.
Okay.
I usually send them a link just to show them, and I know a lot of them have purchased them, and that was the first ball the kids bought, and then from there they'll as they get older they'll buy the others. But yeah,
Wow.
I don't know how many every time, but I know that some have, because parents just tell me that, hey, yeah, I went out and picked that up, and they sure enjoyed it. It's a really good ball, and it is a great starter ball. Matter of fact, I'd love to see some developmental programs around the city use those for those younger age groups. But
Yeah, it's almost like it's convincing someone to spend money on another ball, and they'll say, oh, we already have balls. Well, no, the reason why the kids aren't having success, and that's why they're quitting, is because of the fact is it hurts. It's too big. They're not strong enough. They're not coordinated enough. And so it's always kind of, you might find a pilot program or somebody who might do that in, the rec center or one elementary school that does that, because I think that, once somebody sees it, that, because you had other things you used before, and then and it's almost like making a change and deciding, okay, I'm going to have to buy some balls. But then when you do it, you go, oh my God, why didn't I do this before?
Yeah, and you know, there are some other balls out there, but they are, I mean, they're almost beach
Right,
ball kind
right,
of,
right.
and this has such a great feel, and the cost is reasonable. I mean,
Yeah,
that's the other thing.
yeah.
So
Well, I know when we first started, we tested like 14 different balls over a 7-year period. And one of the things that the players said, because we asked them, you know, come up with colors, come up with how's this feel? How's this feel? And they would go, well, Coach Ruth, it really doesn't look like a volleyball. And so we had to go back and change it because it was first like yellow and one was green. And then we had to change the color combinations because, you know, for us, we know volleyballs are also all white. But, you know, these days, they got to have colors. Okay, Jayden, this last one, he's going to love this one.
Alrighty, so how important would you say it has been to have the parents involved in the program, which is quite different from any other programs worldwide?
well, I still go back to something Ruth said. She may or may not remember this, but so if she doesn't remember it, then I'm going to claim that it actually was said. But she did say it. But when I first applied for BYOP, and again, she told me, we just don't take everybody. And I was like, man, I've worked with kids for 20 some years. What are you telling me? I'm not good enough to work with kids? And so she then called me and she said, okay, we think that you may be one of the most interesting people we worked with. And Ruth, I don't know if you remember saying this, but she pointed out first that I had been a teacher, and so I understood development of kids. I've been a principal, so I understood all that. But she said, based upon your answers, she said, we may, because got to realize, Jayden, at the time, and I had been for many, many years, the club director for Oklahoma Peak Performance. And so when you get into clubs, a lot of times, you know, that there are challenges. You have coach challenges, player challenges, and sometimes you have parent challenges. And sometimes clubs don't necessarily, I don't know, the parental aspect, they're not necessarily a fan of as much sometimes. But she told me, she said, based on your answer, she said, I think you may be one of the only club directors we know that actually likes parents. and 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 here's and honestly, this is to me, it was probably the thing that sold me because I love good teaching methods. I love working with kids, but when you added parents to it, there's just nothing like it. Um, there's so many times nowadays when kids and parents can get pulled apart, and kids go their direction, and parents are doing their thing, and to have something where they both are doing it together, and then watching on their faces, watching these dads, and moms, they show up every week, and they show up ready to work and ready to have fun, and they've got their BYOP shirts on, and we just have a great time. But honestly, I could have gotten teaching methods from a lot of places. I could have worked with kids a lot of places, but to bring all that together and say, not only are parents important, but they are critical to the success of this. It is what sold me more than anything else. Like I said, I was wanting to work with younger kids, but when I saw this parent piece, I thought, that's exactly what I want to spend my time doing. And when I retire one of these days from the real job,
I'm waiting.
yeah, yeah. So it's what I want to, I want to hang out with kids, and
Yeah.
this is a great way to do that. And there may be some others out there, but I've not seen a program like this anywhere. And not only that, but the support that Ruth gives you, always encouraging, always coming up with ideas. And I'm telling you, she has she in my mind is a tech guru because she comes up stuff and I'm going, I don't know how you even did that. I don't have the tech skills. I don't know what you did, but she is always going, oh, it's easy, just do this and this. But the support from Ruth is what makes this program really successful, because you're not in it alone, and if you got questions, she's always there.
Okay, so Randy, thanks for allowing our viewers to get to know you and learn how you have laid a foundation for kids 5 through 12 to learn from your BYOP Edmond program. Now, if you have one last statement for our listeners, what advice would you give parents eager to get their kids started in competition at an early age, or should they be focusing on learning the basic skills that allow them to succeed and have fun?
Well, you have to crawl before you walk. And to me, there's no better place than BYOP to do that, because the competition piece isn't there. And not only that, it creates better educated parents of the sport of volleyball, because I grew up in a place where we didn't have volleyball for boys or girls. So I think that's where it creates better educated parents. And by the way, those people sometimes become officials, and they become coaches. And so if they love the sport like I did, I officiated for 22 years. So you can, this sport is growing so fast. We don't have enough coaches to coach it or enough quality officials to officiate it. The ones that are out there are doing a great job, but you need more. And this, to me, is a springboard for that person that starts loving the sport and goes, how else can I give back? And coaching and officiating to do it. And so I think BYOP is the best place to start before competition, and it just builds from there.
Okay, Jayden, you want to tell us a little about how a parent, teacher, or coach can host a Go Kids Youth Sports Skills Trainer in-person certification course in their area?
Yes, so if you've ever wanted to learn more about teaching kids 10 and under, please head over to our Go Kids Youth Sports website and register to host a Go Kids certification at your facility. We're excited to conduct these 5-hour skills trainer courses, and those who register before the deadline will receive a discount on a 1-year VIP membership with RN Sports Gym, as well as an 8-week training program and a one-on-one session with founder Ruth Nelson, and access to this 24/7 virtual online gym.
Wow. Thanks to all
Well
those,
done.
yeah, thanks to all those BYOP certified instructors and our 2023 Go Kids Youth Sports Skills Trainers. You are all making a difference in these young kids' lives, and more importantly, assisting their parents by providing a blueprint on how their journey can be fun and exciting while learning the skills of volleyball. For all those RN Sports Gym paid members, you will enjoy special pricing for online viewing of our BYOP training videos with our newest partner, Championship Productions. Now, remember to follow us on RN Sports Gym, like, tag, and share our stories. And thanks for joining us with our interview with Randy. And we will see you next Wednesday, which is October 18th, with a new surprise guest. And Randy, we loved having you on finally, because it's been almost 3 years I've been trying to get you on.
I know it. I can check that off now. Hey, loved it. Thanks for letting me be a part of it. Enjoy being a part of BYOP.
Thank you.